Well, it is a Tuesday evening. It is 9 p.m. And once again, we are here. We haven't had a break week in what feels about 2.5 years. And we're here again on Tuesday night at Gantry TV for the penultimate round of the RTA Porsche Cup Series 2026. Dylan McClements took two race victories last week, denied only by Jordan Kelly at the very end at a very wet Donington Park. And while wet weather may have been on the cards here at Virginia International Raceway, our league directors decided that perhaps the ire of the crowd would be too much, and they'd instead opted for fine conditions in the state of Virginia. My name is Kevin Galvin. As always, I am joined by Evan Dalton, Ronan Hedeman working away in the background after an exceptionally busy weekend where we saw Kamto Chukwa really produce and is currently leading the rookie series in the Irish Formula V series. Campto has had a very busy weekend. He's not on track this weekend, but plenty of others here looking to try and catch the ball. Dylan McClements in the 88 car well ahead at the top of the championship. So, from last week in Donington Park, we take a trip back across the Atlantic for the final time over to Virginia International Raceway, an absolutely superb private track that we often say doesn't get enough love on the iRacing service, but gets plenty of love in the RTA standings, it's fair to say, and we're running all 3.27 miles of its 17 turns with a race lap record of 136.112. Of course, the most famous part of it, the oak tree turns 11 and 12, as you can see by the updated Google Maps on the bottom of your screen there. Unfortunately, that oak tree has been cut down, but still a track with plenty of character and a track with lots of racing pedigree, as well, of course, hosts IMSA amongst many other racing series. And I suppose it'll be something similar that we will see this evening in the Porsche Cup cars. Evan, over to Virginia. A lovely evening for it here on near the eastern border of the United States. After a fascinating weekend at Mondello Park, it's great to be back.
Yeah, a grand day for the drawing. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Kevin. As always, it is a pleasure to be back. Virginia International Raceway, a staple in the RTA Virtual Motorsport calendar. Starting to get a little bit more love on iRacing, which is good to see because it is a favourite track amongst many. A very interesting evening here tonight in our Porsche Cup cars. My favourite adage to describe Virginia International Raceway comes from former Le Mans winner Carroll Shelby, who said, "One lap of VIR feels like 100 at Watkins Glen. It is a demanding circuit, and mistakes are very much on the menu, and I imagine we'll see a good few of them here this evening. But this man at the top has been fairly mistake-free for quite some time."
Yeah, this guy has been absolutely dominant, Dylan McClements. He is leading our championship by quite some distance, as you'll see in a second when we have a look at the standings. And this is Dylan weaving and bobbing through that opening section. Really twisty track here at VIR as he comes down towards the turn 11 and 12 of Oak Tree and back down the back straight of Madison Avenue. Dylan, I was going to try and work in some sort of "Don't Call Me Baby" reference there. For those who know, those who grew up with it. But no, Madison Avenue. I can't say that the 1999 hit of the band was called after the back straight between turns of 12 and 14 here at Virginia International Raceway. But I'd like to imagine that it is. Let's have a look at the championship standings if we can, and we can talk through what's been a kind of a very unusually one-sided championship, it's fair to say. And 6 races in, and even with 30 penalty points, including 15 points last week for an instant with Jan Zoutfella, Dylan McClements leading this championship by over 100 points.
Yes, leading it by over 100 points. Kevin, you teed up that Madison Avenue joke like Rory McIlroy teed off on the 18th at the Masters. That one was well off the fairway. Rory O'Shea in second position actually got 2 second places last week in the wet in Donington Park. So Rory O'Shea on a good run of form and lapping quite quickly in practice here tonight in VIR. Harvey Dara in third. Top three in the championship were the top three in heat number 1 last week and heat number 2. So it goes to see the quick drivers are up the front. Campto Chukwa, our sim racing, the real racing star, is in fourth place. He's not going to be racing this evening. Had a nasty enough crash on the Friday and he's just letting his hand rest. But thankfully, the good results came on Saturday. But we'll be talking more about that throughout the evening. Dean Power, Dr. Dean Power in fifth position. And Chance Outavella in sixth. Your driver of the day from last week was very unlucky not to take the win after an impressive defensive performance. It's Jack Wynne in seventh, ahead of Brandon McGaughan in eighth, who's also not going to be here tonight. Jordan Kelly then in ninth, with Nicky Charlier in 10th position. Another name that will be missing from tonight's action. So the top 10 could look very different heading into Laguna Seca next week.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a certain amount of there's a word I was looking for there that was in my head. I was going to say fall off, I suppose, over the course of the season. But yeah, I suppose, look, Dylan being so dominant means that a lot of these guys have decided to just move on. And look, real racing as well, of course, last week, and it was a busy one for a lot of these guys. So I suppose this week is naturally going to suffer as people like Campto and others, for whether it's injury or just for other reasons, decide to take a little bit of a break from the world of motorsport. And Evan, I appreciate the comparison to double Masters champion Rory McIlroy, not only because McIlroy is obviously one of the greatest Irish sportsmen of all time, but he may hit it off the fairway, but he'll also always inevitably clean it up his second shot. So I'm hoping that that second one will be slightly better. Thanks to Campto for joining us in the chat, giving us an update as to why he's not here this evening. And I can tell you, unfortunately, didn't get to make it to Mondello myself on Saturday. I got a little bit caught up by the day, actually, to be honest, totally honest with you. Massive. I know that all of us here at Gadget TV were massively proud to see him out on track this weekend, and just to be part of that experience. And of course, Travis Mawhinney and Jack Wynne, who is on track at the moment, will both have the opportunity to emulate Campto's success so far. As I said, named won the rookie driver title in one of the races on Saturday, and currently leads the rookie championship, and we believe that will stay in place for quite some time. So it's going to be great to see Campto, the first colour driver ever to take or person of colour, should I say, to take the grid in an Irish racing series, and already right to the top of his own championship. So yeah, Campto's having a bit of a Jimmy Broadbent here. Just enters a championship and immediately goes into first place.
Yeah, he is. It goes to show that sim racers not half bad at this thing. Good to see everyone else joining us in the stream chat. It was great to see so many faces of RTA as well. Half of them didn't know who I was because they don't watch the streams, but fair enough. It was still great to see the likes of there was Quiveen was there, Sean was there. It was good to see lots of faces and put lots of faces in the name. Do you want to know who's actually a very handy photographer? Is Ken Doyle, who's not racing this season, but certainly knows how to use a camera.
Yeah, well, Ken joins us in the chat. Hello to you, Ken. Looking forward to having you back in the championship, a regular RTA person. That doesn't surprise me though. Ken does a lot of very I suppose good content in terms of YouTube content and that, so it doesn't surprise me that he'd be a man that would know how to shoot some content. But yeah, great to see him involved. Obviously, our own Ronan Hedeman was down there with his own camera as well, which you can check out on his Instagram. I didn't see it. I thought Ronan was down there with his camera. Okay, Ronan's telling me he wasn't down there with his camera, but Ronan was down there.
Swan's breakfast.
He was. Sorry, Chris McCann was also down there. Chris asks, any nice Sundays today, Evan?
No, but I have a Magnum in the freezer that might be taken on board later.
well, at 10 o'clock in the evening. Good luck to you. Richie Wynn also says good luck to Jaxer and get well soon. Campto, lots of love for Campto in the chat, not surprising. 4 minutes in, just over 4 minutes in, Sean McGoldrick, our early leader here. Sean has a habit of getting to the top of the leaderboard early, Evan, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to be able to hold on to those pole positions, so I'm sure that'll be something he'll be trying to prove to himself. No competitive lap as of yet for Dylan McClements, but I suspect the number 88 car will be slightly further up the leaderboard later on in the session.
Yeah, it was one of the first out in qualifying and then pulled off, so Dylan McClements looking to get back up the order. Speaking of RTA drivers and qualifying, former RTA driver Peter Dempsey actually was the quickest in the bronze driver session at the WEC in Imola at the weekend. So another RTA talent, well, I suppose he was racing long before RTA existed, but another RTA talent up the front. Speaking of RTA's real racing talent, Conor Melia, now currently in 9th position, had a lot of fans at Mondello on Saturday, yeah, as did Campto. But you can see Conor there in 9th position. Will be looking to get up towards the top of the order. Has had a podium this season, despite not really enjoying this car.
Yeah, I suspect that the vast majority of people to see Conor Melia were there just to admire his mustache more than anything else. The Peter Dempsey thing, this is a very fun, I mean, as anybody who watches the stream knows, I am not clued in about motorsport in the same way that Evan Dalton or Ronan Hederman are, right? I mean, I really enjoy it, but I have 3 football teams on the go, all of which are having desperate seasons, and I have a few other sporting bits on the go, so I'm very much an all-rounder. As my best friend often says, you're a jack of all trades and a master of all. But I looked at WEC, and I would be somebody who does follow WEC reasonably. I like WEC and I like Winston, so I do tend to follow those a little bit closer than some of the other racing series. Ooh, that is Tony Griffin taking off there. I think, is that a flare going over some of the corners there from the number 12 car, just setting down the rear tires first. So when I was watching qualifying in WEC, and I was watching the bronze car, and obviously I was aware that Charlie Eastwood, because I'd follow Charlie from going back beyond, who's always been very good to our podcast, yeah. And I knew Charlie was racing for Racing Team Turkey or TF Sport or whatever they are these days. And then I saw Dempsey, and I was like, that's not Peter Dempsey, is it? And then I googled WEC Dempsey, and sure enough, I was like, Peter Dempsey's racing in WEC. When did this happen? So I messaged into the lads, and I was like, did you know that Peter Dempsey was racing in WEC? And then Evan was like, well, yeah, of course, because obviously Evan knows these things. But I was kind of like, as somebody who actually follows WEC and does definitely follow the Irish drivers, I mean, following Irish Cullen and Ryan Cullen in the LMS, and Charlie and Matt Griffin and those types, even Michael Fassbender, it was like, hang on a second, is that Peter Dempsey? Is that the same guy that I commentated on? It was just such a strange feeling. So if any of the Dempsey clan are watching or listening in, I know Emma obviously participates in these championships. Great to. I mean, Peter put in an absolutely mega effort. It's a pity that that the car packed it in, and Sammy Olich couldn't quite do it in the hyper pull. But Peter was absolutely electric. So yeah, I mean, Jesus, what a great. They often say that privateer teams are based on their lowest, in quotations, driver. But if Peter Dempsey's your lowest rated driver, then they have a great chance of winning something this season.
Yeah, to be fair, he hadn't raced for years. Was just straight on the pace in the world's #1 sports car class. So, look, that's a talent I'll never possess. So I'm very jealous of it, Peter, and congratulations to him on all his success. But moving back to RTA here this evening, we're taking a look at Lawrence de Soswa. Currently on pole here at Virginia International Raceway is Dylan McClements by 2/10 of a second ahead of Harvey Dara in a surprise to what is no one. He's heading down towards the roller coaster corner, 14A and 14B. I'll get into my corner numbers having letters in them rant later on, but that is for later. There is Harvey Dara, who's getting a little bit of a slipstream in front of him. Not the most beneficial thing in the world at Virginia International Raceway, apart from that back straight. Through corners like this, it can hold you up, and we're on board with Harvey Downer now for a lap of this fine facility.
Yeah, so here's Harvey now crossing the front straight, down the kink on the right-hand side. You want to set yourself in the left as possible, as far as you can, for the horseshoe of turn number 1. You can break it to 2 marker there, hook it in the inside, as that's Eric Killeen, Bicky, I think, leaving Harvey a go past there. Harvey getting a little bit of oversteer there on the exit of turn number 2, as we go into turn number 3 of NASCAR Bend, and Harvey getting that all kinds of wrong. Let's hope that, no, I was going to say let's hope for our sake that Harvey continues. Let's check in with Dean Power, because he's pretty much just gone past Harvey there. We might be able to have a look at him and finish off the rest with him. So Dean now crossing over 5A into 6 and 6A. This is the snake section up the hill, up towards turns 7, 8, 9 and 10. This is a great section, full commitment over the corners here. Some of these blind, you come up over the top here, and then this left-hander, which is so easy to go wide on the outside. That is turn number 10, South Bend. So easy to get that wrong. Into turns 11 and 12, Oak Tree. Dean's got a little bit deep into that corner, but it's a very, very late apex there, later than you think, as you head down 1-2 Madison Avenue. I'd love to know what that building on the left is for there. I like to imagine that there's some sort of garage there that if you just get fed up halfway through the race, you can get in and get yourself a Twix. But these are the things that go through my head as I head down the back straight up towards turn number 14. Once again, back into this up and down roller coaster, it's called, and roller coaster most certainly delivers. 14A down into 15 and 16, a double left-hander here before you reach the right-hander of Hog Pen, and back around the 17A final corner as you head back down the front straight and through a lap here. And you can see, Evan, basically 2 quite long straights punctuated with a couple of deep braking areas and lots of rolling and lots of elevation changes. Plenty of camber in this track as well. It's really a driver's circuit, and a sort of track that when you're in the flow of it, probably one of the most enjoyable tracks on the entire service.
Absolutely. When you're in the flow of it, it is fantastic. But the beauty behind it is it's very difficult to get into the flow of it. You can make mistakes. You can carry too much speed into one of the corners that has a letter on it for some reason. My request to Connie Nylam, who runs the track here at Virginia International Raceway, fun fact about her actually, she was the first sole female owner of a racetrack in the United States, which is quite cool. But my request to Connie is, stop saying the track has 17 corners. It doesn't. It has 20. You have letters at some of them. And if the letters even made sense, it would make... You'd go, all right, fair enough. But once you head through NASCAR Bend, turn 3, left hook, turn 4, then you're in through turn number 5. The next corner after that is a clearly distinct right-hander. That's 5A. Why is it 5A? That's turn 6. I don't know.
Yeah, and it also follows one of the things that I extremely dislike, which is essentially like slight bends in a straight being called corners. There's nothing that annoys me more.
If you're going to do it for one of them, do it for all. It doesn't even do it for all of them.
All right, well, things that trigger Evan Dalton, that's all I need to know.
Here it has 24 corners. Like there's an argument there for it, but no, it has 17 with... I don't know.
Oh, well, it's
Mondello is another one as well, by the way. 7A and 7B are 2 different corners. Like, it's 2 different corners. Someone talk, please.
Yeah, okay. Tom Goldrick has taken the lead of this qualifying session 145.45. That's rant. And Slam in the chat says Emerald Car Shots, valid crash out, to be honest. So there you go, Evan.
I'm right. Everyone knows I'm right.
We don't doubt you. I mean, it's love. You love to see the passion. You love to see it.
Like, why is the kink between turn 8 and 9 not a corner? But like the one before it, which is actually less. Like, look, we're looking here. This is turn 7. This is turn 8. This is nothing, and now this is turn 9. It makes no sense.
But does this not date back to?
And this is turn 11. Like, would you not just say this whole crest is turn 12? Then you go on to the straight, fair enough. But when you get down, the kink before turn 14 is turn 14, and the one after that is 4.
We missed a serious opportunity by not doing an onboard lap guide with Evan just complaining about the corners as we went on board with somebody. Maybe if
But,
Dylan
sorry,
gets so far ahead,
stick
it
with
doesn't
Dylan here.
matter.
Stick with Dylan. This is 14. This is 14A. Are you ready? Right, that's fair enough. 14A. Now you're into 15. Yep, that's all good. Turn 16. Turn 17. This little sweep to the right is absolutely nothing. And then the sweep after it is 17A. Why?
Oh, but why is I don't? Yeah, I suppose turn 16 is a corner. Yeah, it's just the way they have it on the map here makes it look a bit strange. Yeah, I mean, look, hang on. Look, give me 1 second. Virginia International Raceway email. Feel free to contact virnow.com/contact or info@virnow.com, Evan, if you'd like to submit a complaint. Also, if your complaints are a little bit over the top, then you can also contact security@virnow.com and you might be able to get
This
in
is a
contact
security issue.
with them.
Anyway, Sean McGoldrick on pole here at the stupidly corner named VIR. Dylan McClements in second by less than a tenth, by the way. Around a circuit that's 5.262 ABCD kilometers long. That's not bad. Arby Tara in third out of Jean Zoutavella. Then it's Rory O'Shea in fifth. Tony Griffin in sixth out of Eric Killeen, Conor Melia, Dean Power, Lawrence de Soswa, Dermot Toomey, Kevin Joyce, Jack Wynn, Peter McCann, Adam Dowling, Mladen Shrejkovic, Jordan Kelly, Lee Cogan, David Edwards, and Jamal Gandor in 20th position. Top 12 separated by less than a second. Not bad.
Geraldine McClements with the absolute comment of the day. She just says, "Go get the Magnum, Evan."
No, because then I'll be sent a photo by Peter McCann of me eating a Magnum upside down.
Well, he's going to send it to you anyway. Right, as we get ready to go, thank you so much for your comments. Emerald, Sam says, Evan should have a corner named after him at Virginia for this. Campto says, and even the Red Bull Ring has the slightest input to the left is turn 2, even though it's almost straight. Rona Doherty says, counting with Evan Dalton. And Shot said this is an international issue, and welcome back to why is the Virginia corner naming so stupid with Evan Dalton. Right, I hope you can.
Next project.
Right, there you go. Edvin's mini documentary on corner names. You could do it like the Golf Digest guides of Augusta National ahead of the Masters. Right. Sean McGoldrick on pole. In fairness to him, Sean McGoldrick, he managed to get back on pole ahead of our championship leader Dylan McClements. So maybe we'll have a bit of a race this evening. Let's cross our fingers and hope so as we get going for the opening heat of round 7 of the RTA Porsche Cup Series 2026.
Yes, it's McGoldrick in Rexy on the inside, but Dylan McClements gets the better launch as we go racing, shall we? Down towards the first corner. Great start by Jean Zoutavella, who's alongside Harvey Dara in towards the braking zone of the first bend, and it is still Sean McGoldrick in the race lead. Jump start from Lee Cogan towards the back is going to hamper his progress, but it is a cracking start here to racing action. O'Shea, is he going to be lunged by Zoutavella here in the high pre? Yes, he is, and O'Shea has been pushed over the curb to the outside, and back down the inside of Harvey Dara goes Jan Zoutavella, taking no prisoners is the Dutchman.
Yeah, Jan, very aggressive there, almost on the limit there with the hip check on Rory O'Shea, but doing well to defend his territory. He's pissed on his tree, and now it's his. Jan Zoutavella takes 4th position. Mladen Srečković up 3 places, meanwhile in 13th position. We haven't talked a huge amount about him so far. Harvey Dara has a slowdown here, so he's going to be held up, and Jan is not going to be hanging around if the first couple of corners are anything to go by. So Harvey's under a bit of a threat here.
Yeah, he is under a bit of a threat. Sean McGoldrick has got away here. Dylan McClements still with him, and Harvey Dara, is that a slowdown? Or something? There's some problem anyways. He's pulled off the racing line and no longer running at a steady speed. Dylan McClements is weaving behind Sean McGoldrick here, and the 88 could well look for the race leading move in towards the roller coaster corner. No, Dylan backs off, takes the smart approach, and is going to just tuck in behind and follow Sean McGoldrick through. It is still the Oxford resident in the race lead with Dunloy's Dylan McClements right behind, and look how much more speed he's able to carry through turn 16 and 17 down towards the main straight, and this is a real opportunity for Dylan McClements.
Yeah, real opportunity, and he mightn't be Oxford educated as Dylan McClemens, but he's certainly well able to get himself around this track as quickly as the number 16 car. And I suspect that the good people of Dunloy probably have a bit of experience in boat racing, given the amount of rain they've seen in the first 3 months of this year. So Dylan certainly, I mean, look, he's wants to protect his championship lead. He'd ideally love to do enough to win the thing outright this evening, and he could chill out for the last couple of races. Rory O'Shea still behind Jan Zoutvella, but they're both all up a place. Eric Killeen, Bickie's down 2 places. Harvey Dara, unfortunately, is the man who lost out there. Oh, that's somebody spinning in the background. That is Adam Dowling. Adam Dowling, unfortunately, going off, and Adam, that is karma for not deciding to sign up for Wildfire Racing for the Nürburgring 24 hours. Have zero sympathy for you. A spot is available still to run with myself and Ronan Hanneman if anybody fancies. Rory O'Shea still in fourth position. But yeah, Harvey, very unusual for Harry. I think he tried to bleed off the slowdown, and then it just got to a point where it was kind of almost at a critical point where he literally just had to stop the car to avoid being given a stop and go penalty.
Yeah, it was a really weird one, but it's put him on the back foot, certainly. Now we're on board with Eric Killeen on the back of Lawrence de Soswa here. Both know each other very well, so I imagine this one will be clean in towards the corner, and Lawrence de Soswa shoots it round the outside on Bicky. And Bicky able to get in front, heading through the next left-hander, and that is about as good a move as you'll get.
Yeah, super stuff from Bicky in the number 5 car. Didn't want to be looking at Lawrence de Soswa's face for very long in the rear bumper of his number 19 machine, and now Lawrence having another problem, and he's gone way down the order, being overtaken by Peter McCann. Mladen Srekovic now behind him, looking to eye up a move, but we're 3 wide going into not 1A, but just one, and one contact between Harvey Dara and Kevin Joyce, but Kevin manages to collect it together. Harvey gets ahead of him, but super work from Kevin Joyce to manage to avoid hitting Jack Wynne and cause what would have been a pile up even worse than the corner naming around Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, that was a close one. It's a fairly narrow track. Wouldn't recommend 3 wide too often. And Kevin Joyce able to get in front of Jack Wynne. Oh, he spun right in front of him. And that's Kevin Joyce gone round. And I would not be surprised. Well, I am very surprised because no one has hit Kevin. But he spun it, just lit up the rears. And that is very disappointing for the number 15. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at the RTA Gantry TV replay here on this one. And it is that's Adam. That's Peter McCann going off in the background, is it? That's another Earn Tile sponsor car going off in the background anyway. As Kevin Joyce into Harvey Dara. Kevin lost that on his own, and unfortunately almost collected Jack Wynne, who did a great job of avoiding him, and also Mladen Srekovic did a superb job of collecting the number 15 car as well. But it looked like Kevin just bit too much speed into that one and asked a little bit too much of the front tires.
Yeah, he did. It's a good thing. That's a nudge. That's Lawrence nudging Mladen Srekovic. But it's a good thing Kevin spun in front of the one person on the grid who has a video titled How to Avoid Crashes. And Jack Wynne doing that, certainly. Another little tidbit about Jack Wynne. Actually gave himself a brand new nickname in Mondello Park at the weekend. So introducing Jack, shouts his own name in bed, Win. He said that's what gets him motivated for racing and to keep the results rolling through.
Well, don't know what his partner has to say about that, but fair enough, Jack. Whatever gets you going is suspecting.
Well, himself,
well, I was going to say maybe he's the type that has a mirror on the ceiling. Right, Dylan McClemens, he's in second position, but he's under fierce pressure from Jan Zoutvella. Certainly not putting as much pressure on Sean McGoldrick as he would have liked. And Jan is I mean, he is an aviation student after all, and certainly taking flight there over those corners, the number 35 car. I would not want to be a passenger taking a lap in that Porsche Cup car if it did something like that.
No, bounces over the curbs are the best of times. Even after 7 rounds, the driver's still getting a hang of it. Sean McGoldrick, who's a previous Porsche Cup champion in RTA, seems to have the hang of it here this evening, but something tells me Dylan McClemens is just biding his time. They are both setting fairly similar laps. Well, Dylan actually making a mistake the last time round, but Sean 45.4. Fastest lap on the last lap was by Tony Griffin in fourth position with also a 45.4, but it was 3 thousandths quicker than Sean McGoldrick. So Sean is not up the front by coincidence, genuinely setting the pace here at the front of this race. So those behind have work to do to get past him.
Yeah, and this will be the first time in 3 or 4 weeks where Dylan McClemens hasn't won the opening race of this thing. So, I mean, Evan, you'd know more specifically, but it's certainly been a while.
Yeah, it
Jordan
would be
Kelly,
the first time since
unfortunately,
Daytona.
yeah, first time since Daytona. So there you go. Unfortunately, Jordan Kelly is a meatball. He has to go into the pits. And this man, I believe, was the spinner in the background that we saw. Oh, maybe it was Jordan Kelly, actually, maybe that was involved in the background of that incident. There's so many Earn Tile sponsored cars coming up badly, coming down badly this week.
Jordan
I'm not.
Pad, I think.
Jordan, yeah, Jordan on the pad. I don't know what Adam Downing's excuse was, but unfortunately he had an issue as well. No problem though for the Rexy AOR machine. Obviously no Campto this evening racing the other Rexy, but Sean McGoldrick flying the flag solo here this evening and keeping a comfortable gap with Dylan. Only one more lap to survive here, and he'll be not only taking the opening race win, but also gridding. There's Harvey Dara. What a disappointment for the number 14 car who qualified so well. But yeah, Dylan now didn't quite get close enough to make a move, but I sense that the number 88 car is getting slightly more impatient as we head towards the final lap as Sean McGoldrick opened the door there. Not quite. Dylan still has to bide his time, Evan, and there are overtaking spots on this circuit, but certainly this final section isn't one of them.
Yeah, Dylan, got to be careful. Went for the big move on the last lap in Donington against Jan Zeltavella, so he's got to play his cards right here. White flag, final lap at Virginia International Raceway. Dylan McClemens looks for the inside on Sean McGoldrick. Sean covers off, takes his racing line, but he runs a little bit wide, and Dylan McClemens has found an avenue to attack, and he's looking to sneak his way through as they head down towards the NASCAR bend. A long sweeping left-hander. McGoldrick will have the inside of it, but how brave is Dylan McClemens feeling? Leans on the side of Rexy, swoops his way through. Pure commitment, pure bravery, and pure excellence from Dylan McClemens, and Jan Zeltavella is able to barge his way through. McGoldrick's lost 2 in 2 corners. Awful disappointing for him, but the champion-elect is going to run away up the road to keep his Heat 1 streak alive.
Yeah, and he has the two fighting behind him as well, which may open the door for him. That's if these two even survive this. And there you go. I completely could see that coming, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, going through that section as Jan Zoutavella definitely takes flight this time. He pushed the boundaries of aerodynamics in the last lap, and this time finds himself flying through the air, although this time through no real fault of his own, although that battle was always going to be around by Sean McGoldrick. The stewards are obviously going to have a look at that, but Jan Zoutavella once again taken out in a season that he must feel very hard done by. But that's now opened the door for Dylan McClemens once again to take our opening heat victory. Hasn't come easy to him this time, and I reckon Sean might give him a good run in this next race as well.
Absolutely, and dare I say, a first podium for Tony Griffin as well, who's coming round in third place and might even get second if he gets the run to the line. No, Sean will have enough. Got the exit out of the final corner. Dylan McClemens takes the Heat 1 win. Sean McGoldrick in second and Tony Griffin in third. This is Eric Killeen in the slipstream of Conor Amelia looking for this one, but to no avail. Dr. Power was in fifth as well. Now the two streamers will have their own version of the drag race. And it's the Sosma drives Jack Wynn off the road. Hate the game, not the player.
Oh, well, you know, anything for engagement. But I'm glad.
Crashed into someone with a lot more subscribers than me. There's your title.
I thought I was
a PayPal, Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Security at virnow.com. Jordan Kelly passing the line. No, there's Jordan Kelly not crossing the line. Actually, most distinctly not crossing the line. Jordan, like a wounded gazelle in the long grass of the savannah, stuck where he is, and unfortunately he finishes. And to be fair, I mean they're about as fast as each other too. Yeah, as Hab said, landing gear upgrade needed for Jean in heats 2 and 3. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, Evan? We were talking about just before we came to air, and we were saying, I wonder will this be similar to Road Atlanta in the LMP2s, or it's just absolute chaos, and that's kind of exactly what we're getting this evening.
Yeah, I don't think I helped that with by the absolute rant during qualifying, but I digress. Dylan McClements on the race winner will be on pole position for heat number 2. Sean McGoldrick in second, Tony Griffin in third, then Rory O'Shea in 14, Power in fifth, Conor Elia in sixth, Eric Killeen in seventh, and of Lawrence de Sosva, Jack Wynne, Dermot Toomey, Mladen Shrejkovic with one of his better results here in RTA in 11th. Then it was Peter McCann, Jamal Gandor, David Edwards, Kevin Joyce, Lee Cogan, Adam Dowling, Jan Zouttavella, Jordan Kelly, and Harvey Dara. This should be an interesting one, actually, in terms of those starting at the back. Kevin Joyce, Jan Zouttavella, Harvey Dara, all had decent pace in qualifying, just got unfortunate. So interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, I'd just rather see them at the front of the grid, to be honest. But let's see if this man can mount the challenge as we head into the second race.
Yeah, Sean McGoldrick, excellent pace in heat number 1, just got slipstream past, and he's got the launch as we go racing here for the second heat, and that's a great start for Tony Griffin as well, and it could well be 3 abreast down towards the first corner. McGoldrick splits the two of them and is looking to return the favour to Dylan McClements from heat number 1, but Tony Griffin is able to get on the inside, and Tony Griffin is up to second position here. There's smoke in the background. Dylan McClements leads, followed by Griffin, followed by your pole sitter tonight, Sean McGoldrick.
Yeah, Peter McCann's had an issue. Harvey Dara has spun around. David Edwards down as well. So a couple of unfortunate incidents there to kick off with. Just looking at Sean McGoldrick getting passed there by Tony Griffin, it reminded me distinctly of the V's, I think it was when we were here last, although I'm open to correction on that. Maybe it was the Indy cars, but or maybe it was the MX5s actually. But I just remember the outside of that corner kept catching out even the best drivers. I know Jordan Kelly got caught out a couple of times by the marbling on the outside of that horseshoe. So if you get on the wrong line of that corner, there's absolutely zero grip, and I think that's what Sean McGoldrick found just there.
Yeah, think so. I think it's Rory O'Shea right behind him now, who's got to be challenging down towards the roller coaster corner. And here he comes. We're on board with O'Shea now in the number 81. A bit of a bump draft actually on Sean McGoldrick. So obviously feels it's beneficial for Rory to work with Sean here to try and catch the top two. Rory off the brace very early. Sean McGoldrick with a more defensive approach. And that is going to kill O'Shea's momentum. So that's not really worked out as a tactic for Rory. Dylan McClements excelling up the front in the race lead. Tony Griffin follows. A couple of big gainers and losers on this lap. Jordan Kelly up 7 on the controller, racing out of Killarney, not doing half a bad job.
No, not at all. As Adam Dowling, unfortunately, I don't know where he's racing from, but is it actually Jordan? No, I thought it was Adam Dowling. But yeah, I looks like he's racing across Killarney there as opposed to from Killarney. Right, Kevin Joyce is 10th position. He's the number 15 car. And also, let's remember, top 8 switches around for the final race. Jack Wynne currently in that place at the moment. And Eric Killeen in 7th. Eric seems to be showing some great pace this evening, so could have a good final race. Fingers crossed for him. Johnny Hollywood joins us in stream. Johnny, the man with the name like a porn star, and I'm sure he doesn't disappoint as well. Sean McGoldrick in 2nd place. But Dylan is taking off down the road here, Evan, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it's settled down up the front, and Dylan McClements still leads. And that's Tony Griffin. What's happened from 2nd position, heading through turn number 10. The South Bend was running excellent at the start of this race, Tony Griffin, but falling into line in 6th, he'll be disappointed with that one. Was the quickest of the field, bar Dylan up the front on the last lap, so he'll have to tuck in. He's now in the slipstream. Dean Power heading down towards the roller coaster.
Yeah, Dean Power down towards the roller coaster, as is Lawrence de Soswa. And speaking of the battle of the streamers, Lawrence has managed to absolutely clean out Jack Wynne in the first race. So I'd say Jack will be somewhat nervously looking over his shoulder at another Kerry native on our grid, of course, Lawrence de Soswa. Obviously, has made the correct and rather informed choice of emigrating down across the county border, but on the west side of the city, so it's still close enough to nip out the road back over to the kingdom. But Lawrence in ninth position at the moment, and both of those currently battling for the reverse grid pole. Speaking of a man who will have ambitions for reverse grid pole, Jan Zoutevella, he is up 7 positions already into 11th place. And while others around him seem to have issues early on off the grid, Jan seems to be powering forward and very clearly has some really, really good pace. And to be fair to Jan, hard to blame him for what happened in that last race. I'm sure he'll be smarting after that one, and he'll have the backup looking to try and make as many points between now and the end of the evening.
And oh, there's a spin. That's Jordan Kelly, who has spun right in front of the track. Thankfully, everyone avoiding him in the number 7 getting out of the way. Yeah, not the place you want to spin and not the mistake you want to make for Jordan. Oh, here's Lee Cogan and Dermot Toomey. This could end badly. This could end badly. Oh, Lee Cogan sweeps it round the outside. Lovely move from Lee and getting up in front. Harvey Dara now on the tail of Toomey behind 2 Tillotson karting racers. And Harvey Dara not able to get past into the oak tree, but will have the run. New livery tonight for Dermot Toomey in his Porsche Cup car. Good to see someone still has some enthusiasm to actually race these things. Now we're looking at Dean Power on the tail of Tony Griffin once again. Tony, who, look, if you're going to make a mistake in an RTA race and end up 5th, you'll take it.
Oh, absolutely. Tony having a great evening thus far. Jordan, I don't know where he spun, Evan. Did he spin? What corner number did Jordan spin at? Do you remember?
It was 5A.
5A. Oh, okay. It wasn't 5, so it was 5A. I just wanted to make sure. Right, Dean Power. He is. We're not talking about 5A, but we're looking about a fight for 5th. See what I did there? Rory McIlroy-esque, managing to dig myself out of a hole.
No, you're in the pond.
I think that was pretty good. I mean, self-praise is no praise, but self-praise nonetheless. Okay.
Bunker, pond, forest.
Bunker, all of my favourite places to be on a golf course, actually. The place, coincidentally, where I find myself most when I play myself. Conor Melia, under pressure from Tony Griffin. And Conor, well, I know, would be absolutely dying for a podium position, but not enough to risk losing it all. As Conor, I think, decides that discretion is the better part of valour and allowing the number 12 car through. But Tony, on great pace at the moment. And yeah, really look forward to seeing what he could potentially do in the final race.
Yep, you need a lot of bravery to pull that one off, and Tony has round the outside of turn number 9. Really nice stuff from the number 12, who's up to 4th position here. And Conor, I don't think fancies being on the inside of a situation like that in a month of Sundays. And this is Lawrence de Soswa, who's on the tail of Jack Wynn now. They had their moment heading across the line, and is Lawrence going to lunge into the roller coaster? No, he's not. Lawrence, I have to say, has had a very busy evening so far. He's been in battles left, right and centre, and probably enjoying it. Just 2 blokes who enjoy their wheel-to-wheel racing are Jack and Lawrence, and happen to make a decent chunk of change out of it as well, so I'm sure they're very delighted for the bit of content. That is Eric Killeen, who is in front of them, another friend of theirs, so could have a 3-car fight in a few moments.
Yeah, and obviously 3 guys who know each other very well, as it is racing a lot together. It's been a long day. Yeah, I suppose, as you say, all great content to be battling door to door here. And Jack, let's not forget, this is 4 reverse grid poles, so there is something on the line here and an opportunity to get a great result in the last race. And I have to say, Jack has been sneakily good in some of these final races, both in the Scholarship Series and in this. So, yeah, I mean, Jack, as you say, he's a crash avoidance specialist, or at least that's what he calls himself when he's not shouting his name in the bedroom. So let's see if he can put that to good use in that final race. Dylan McClements has 4/10 of a second lead over Sean McGoldrick, and managing that gap fairly well, Evan, as yeah, there's some fairly spectacular corner cutting in some of these parts.
Yeah, Jack Wynn just hit V1 for a second there, going over one of those curbs. now is in the slipstream of Lawrence de Salzburg conveniently. So I wonder, will there be a lunge here from the 17? We still have a fairly decent amount of this race to go, so plenty of time to tee up a move, but Jack Wynn doesn't fancy that. Lawrence covers him off, and Jack just braking at the right point to not punt the two of them into oblivion. We've had our RTA collisions into the roller coaster corner before on last laps. We're not quite on the last lap here, but it could well happen later on this evening. They are both nip and tuck heading through the hog pen, and this is a very nice battle indeed. This man up the front, though, not having it all his own way. Won Heat 2 last week in Donington Park. Won Heat 2 in Road America. He's Sean McGoldrick pushing him all the way for Heat 2 here in Virginia.
Yeah, and it looks like McGoldrick's a little bit later on the brakes, but then Dylan is kind of making it on the exit, so bit of nip and tuck here between the two cars, and it'll take a mistake by one of them to really sort this one out. And Dylan does have a mistake in him. He's not perfect, although it seems like he is at the moment the way he's driving. But if you put pressure on any driver, no matter who they are, there's always a potential for them to make a little bit of a mistake, and that's what Sean McGoldrick will be hoping for as he chases our runaway championship leader. We're just having a look at some superb overhead shots, and unfortunately Conor Amelia has had an issue, so the mustache has intercepted the Wi-Fi there, and he has been kicked from the grid. So unfortunately for Conor, no bueno for him. Now we have a nice battle here. Here is Mladen Srekovic in the battling with Harvey Dara in the 11, and Mladen's gone slightly offline there, but Harvey's made his way all the way from 20th and having spun at the original point to back up to being 11. So there's a couple of drivers here, Evan, who have had fairly shoddy, I think, mistakes by their own standards, but there's still time for them to claw back and to make something out of this evening.
Yeah, still plenty of time. We know how long Heat 3 can be, and with the level of mistakes we've seen from some drivers, there's plenty of opportunities to get yourself back into a fairly decent position. But BIR is a difficult track. We said it at the top of the stream. That hasn't changed. You've got to drive almost perfect to get a very good result around here. One little mistake can cost you an awful lot. But still 5 minutes to go, and we're still looking at the fight between Lawrence de Salzburg and Jack Wynn. The gap up the front has 7/10 between the top three as well. So Sean McGoldrick looking to press Dylan McClellan. Sean just praying that Dylan lets him have one. He's won enough this season, says Sean. And Dylan, with a win here in the second heat and a good result in the third, would probably put one hand on the championship trophy. And there goes Jack Wynn down the inside of LD, returns the favour, gets the job done.
Yeah, mistake by LD going through corner number 3, and that has opened the door now for the big bad looming figure of Jan Zoutevella, and cue the Jaws team tune, because he's come back from 2.5 seconds behind these cars to now be less than 2/10, or shortly be less than 2/10, Jan. So only a matter of time, I suspect, before Jan Zoutevella, especially if these two continue to battle, that Jan is going to try and make his move. Now, how clean he's going to make it and how he's going to get it done, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this guy is carrying some serious pace, Jan Zoutevella, as we head down Madison Avenue. Lawrence goes to the door, Jan swaps back, comes around the other side, and that's a bit of a mistake, I think, from Lawrence, because that's going to open up the inside for the next corner. Jack comes across and covers the inside. Ooh. Jan has to swap to the outside. Lawrence tries to go around the outside. Jean tries to stop to the inside, and Lawrence gets past Jack Wynn, who can't close the door on him, and now Jack is stuck in the middle with you, and Jan is putting all kinds of pressure on them. That was a late move there, and a little bit untidy, but all three managed to get through unscathed.
Yeah, that was a great move by LD. Stopped it on the apex perfectly. Didn't allow Jack Wynn switch back. And now Jack Wynn is bump drafting Lawrence down towards the first corner. And he lifts off, allows them two to go at it. Shoots him away like it's curling. And Jack Wynn, Isabella knows, that is his forte as they head in towards the NASCAR bend.
Yeah, and Jan trying to move down the inside, trying to put pressure on LD, tries a slight move, and I think LD's after overreacting. He's opened up the door a little bit. He's out of position now, heading through corner number 5A and 6 and 6A as Jan Zoutevella gets through there as we head up towards turn 7, 8, and 9.
Yes, here we go. Jack Wynn. Oh, goes airborne once again. That always scares the living daylights out of me, but these drivers probably used to it by now. Clips that curve nicely. Good line from Jack Wynn, but no move in towards the oak tree. We'll have one more lap after this one, and this battle is being heavily contested, but up the front as well, it is still very close. And Sean McGoldrick and Dylan McClements are both doing almost identical lap times. So Sean McGoldrick may well return the favour. He knows where to make the move on Dylan McClements if he wants to try and win this race, because Dylan did it to him on the very last lap. It could be anything you can do, I can do better as they head down through the hog pen. Dylan needs a good exit out of here. Crucially, doesn't really get one, and Sean McGoldrick is into the slipstream now. Rexy looking to taste success for the first time in the RTA Virtual Motorsport Porsche Cup, down towards the first corner. Slipstream, not the most powerful thing in these Porsche cars, and you can see that hasn't allowed Sean McGoldrick to get alongside. He'll need to wait for the back straight at this point.
Yeah, and as that battle continues between those three, as Jan Zoutevella comes around the outside of Lawrence de Soswell, Lawrence going to have the inside line. I think Jan could be pinned on the outside. Oh, there's a bit of contact, and I think Jan was a little bit overzealous cutting across the front of Jack Wynn. Jack, in fairness to him, I think tried to stop and slow down, which avoided completely cleaning out the number 35 car. But I think Jan realised that if he was stuck on the outside, he could have been undercut by the two of them, and then rather zealously, I think, cut across the nose of Jack Wynn as contact between those two. But it looks like Dylan McClements has now pulled away the gap. He's managed that gap all along, and the 88 car has put the foot in the loud pedal when it matters most as he comes down through the final section. Goes a little bit wide there through turn number 15, but it looks like he's collected it up coming back through Hog Pen, and it looks like Dylan's going to make it 2 from 2 for the third week in a row. Sorry, not in Hog Pen. We were going down through the South Bend. We still have half the track left, Kevin. But it certainly looks like Sean, it's going to be very difficult from Sean now to oust Dylan, and it looks like Dylan, barring a major mistake, is going to walk away with another double victory.
Here he goes. Is there going to be a lunge from Sean McGoldrick? No, he's more sensible than wiping the two of them off the face of the planet. And it is most likely going to be Dylan McClements who will take this one unless there is a mistake for the final corner. It's never over until the checkered flag drops, but with Dylan McClements at the front of the field, you can usually expect composure. And it will be 2 from 2 once again here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. It really is Dylan McClements' world that we're living in. And there's contact between Zoutevella and de Soswell. And is Jack Wynn going to be able to get past Lawrence? This is crucial for the reverse grid pole. Is Jack Wynn going to be starting in first or ninth? Lawrence de Soswell will be on reverse grid pole. Zoutevella getting past at the final couple of corners for 2 more crucial points.
Yeah, I'd love to see a replay of that because we only just caught it right at the tail end of that battle. But I'd love to see whether Zoutevella's move was kosher or not, as Peter McCann leads Adam Dowling across the grid. And Peter, I'm sure he wouldn't be particularly pleased if any other driver did that in stream. So I would give Peter a slap in the wrist there. Jan going down the inside. He now has the inside for the next corner, but he's quite on the bumper. Oh, it's going to be tight. Jan. I think it's on Lawrence. We'll have to go back and look at it again, but it looked like Lawrence was coming across to take a line that Jan was always going to have. Thanks to our race director, Ronan Hedeman, for rolling this one back. Let's have a look. So they come down through, this is turn number 14A.
That's a really good angle of it. No, Jan hits the curve and goes into Lawrence.
Yeah, I think, I still think, yeah. I mean, interesting. Okay. Right. Dylan McClements leading. Let's get class 5 results and we'll take some quick interviews then.
Yeah, Dylan McClements, your race winner. Sean McGoldrick in second. Rory O'Shea in third. Tony Griffin in fourth. Dean Power in fifth. And it is Eric Killeen, Jan Zoutevella. Reverse grid pole for Lawrence de Soswell. Then it is Jack Wynn, Harvey Dara, Kevin Joyce, Mladen Shrekovich, Lee Cogan, Peter McCann, Adam Dowling, ahead of Dermot Toomey, Jordan Kelly, Jamal Gandor, David Edwards, and Conor Melia, who unfortunately disconnected. Let's have a chat with our double race winner tonight, Dylan McClements, who is back with us now. Dylan, congratulations. It's 2 from 2 again. How do you keep this up?
I'm not really sure. I was actually struggling for a good bit in the first race. I felt really weird in behind Sean. But I think I just got the grips of it near the end. I don't know if there was dirty air or something, but yeah, got a clean overtake. I don't know how I done it, but somehow won and just kept the lead through the second race.
Talk us through how you stay motivated to keep pushing and winning races, even though the championship is almost, or is all, what's the word I'm looking for? Is almost wrapped up.
Well, the best place to be is winning, so I'm just gonna keep on trying pushing to try win every single race. I think if I'm to beat my 5 wins in a row, I have to win every single race for the rest of the season, which definitely be hard, but we'll try it.
So starting eighth, it is a difficult enough track to overtake, even if you did pull off an absolute blinder at heat number one. What's the tactics?
Mostly staying alive, to be honest. I always say staying alive, but we'll see how it goes, because it's different every heat three. It could be chaotic, or the gates could just open free and you'd be sitting third. So it'll definitely be hard, but hopefully you'll be in that podium and another win.
Dylan, best of luck in heat number three, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
And let's see who we're going to see if we can have a chat with our second placed driver, Sean McGoldrick. Let's see if he can join us. Sean, yes. Sean, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, very clear you had great pace there and just pipped right at the end of that opening race. I don't know if you were involved in the last time we were here in VIR, but I was saying to Evan, memory serves me correctly, that opening turn, the horseshoe, once you get out onto that outside of that curb, there's just absolutely no grip there, and you're kind of left stranded almost.
Yeah, it's kind of dusty out there, and the camber's right on the inside, so you need to hook into that, or you're in big trouble. But and Jan got a great run past me. I don't know what happened there. I think I kept it far enough to the side, but if I took him out, I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, look, I mean, we gave him an 8.7 for the quadruple
I
barrel
heard.
roll, which I mean, it was impressive. I suppose, look, like Dylan is he's in another class in this
Yeah, he is
championship. He's
indeed.
running away with
Yeah,
it. But is this the first time you've kind of had a real good go off him? So I suppose you'd hope maybe in this last race you might be able to put being ahead of him on the grid to your use.
I don't know about that. He just has so much pace, and with that big long straight, he's got a good chance. And uh, I've had pace on lots of races this season, and I've messed it up. So I'm not going to go crazy hard fighting him. If I could get 3 podiums tonight, it would be like 3 wins.
Well, Sean, you started on on P1. You fuck two second place finishes in a row. It's been a great evening for you. Let's go get that last podium.
Great, thanks very much.
So that was Sean McGoldrick in the 16. And just a reminder, Sean is one of lots of people who have already donated to the I Donate Back to the Grid, set up by Peter McCann for Harry Fagan and Sean McClements after their accident last weekend. Over 3,500, but we're looking to raise 10,000. So head to idonate.ie/crowdfunder /FV. FVEE. Yeah, you can put in your name, and each €20 donated will give you a chance to win some of your money back. So just a quick plug for that before we get to our final podium place, Rory O'Shea.
Don't think we have time for Rory, actually. We're just about to get ready for heat number three. Sorry, excuse me, folks. But on that donation, a big thanks has to go towards Kevin Joyce, who, by and large, is very much responsible for that very big figure so far. So, Kevin, I know the two lads will be sending you their thanks, but a big thanks from all the RTA lads on behalf of all your commitment to the sim racing to real racing project, as well as getting the two lads back out. But it is Lars Oswald and Jan Soutavell on the front row here. That one could get tasty. Eric Killeen and Dean Power in the second row. Tony Griffin and Rory O'Shea on row 3, followed by Sean McGoldrick and Dylan McClements. And then Jack Wynne and Harvey Darrett to round out the top 10. Could be an interesting race, this.
Yeah, it's a real pity that Jack Wynne isn't in that top 3 because they had some great battles. I would love to see it up front, but let's see what can happen between these two.
Yeah, should be a good one as we get to go racing here, and it's a very poor start from Lawrence de Salzwa off the front row. He could be under pressure, but he seemed to got up the gears well now, and Jan Tautovella will still challenge round the outside in for the first corner, and the Dutchman is looking to make amends from Donington Park last week, where he lost a heat-free win on the very last lap, and down through the NASCAR bend, it's Jan Tautovella on the inside. It's a big lunge, carries a lot of speed, and we've a little bit of a melee in the back. It's Sean McGoldrick, Jack Wynne, Dermot Toomey amongst others, and that is not what Sean McGoldrick deserves this evening.
No, absolutely not. We'll have to go back and have a look at an RTA race replay of that. But look at this. Tony Griffin slips in behind Lawrence de Salzwa. And then Rory O'Shea is trying to push the issue as well in the high pre. Dermot Toomey, unfortunately, has a meatball. He'll be out for the rest of the race. Sean McGoldrick also, unfortunately, has a meatball. So that's the end of his race. I think we might have put the commentator's curse on him there. Unfortunately, I will take complete... what would I say? Responsibility for that one. Ownership of that one. Thank you very much, Ronan Hedeman. Rory, I thought he might slip in ahead of Lawrence de Salzwa, but a brilliant move by Tony Griffin. And Tony having a great evening this evening. Hopefully we can have a look at what happened at the start of this race.
Yeah, they're in the slipstream now, heading down towards the roller coaster. It's been chaotic at the start, and Dean Power is leading the train through. Lawrence de Salzwa is looking for the move on Tony Griffin here, but Tony able to defend. It's very difficult to lunge a Porsche down the inside there, but Dylan McClemens finds a way, of course, and now he's on the outside of Dean Power. He's got to carry the momentum here and be careful he doesn't clip the grass as they head in towards the hog pen. Dylan McClemens braves it out once again. The mere mention of that name is enough to scare drivers into a lift, and it's worked again.
You talk about Rory McIlroy. Dylan McClemens is Tiger Woods between the years of 1999 and 2003. He's just absolutely wherever he wants to go, wherever he wants the car to go, it'll go, basically. He's just absolutely in tune with that machine and dominating this championship. Let's have a look at what happened back along. This is opening lap, so we've Jack Wynne behind Sean McGoldrick, and Dylan McClemens is involved in that as well. There's Adam Dowling doing his... Ooh, that's Dylan, is it? Is that Dylan punting Sean McGoldrick? And then Sean gets turned around. Let's have a look. I'm trying to ignore the Ern Tiles car. Here we go. Dylan McClemens. Bang. Around goes Sean McGoldrick. Dylan drives away unscathed. And unfortunately, Sean collects a number of other cars, including...
I don't know why they all checked up there, though.
Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to go back and have a look. It looked like he came off. It looks like that it was pretty simple there to avoid. But it's the number one, YouTube's number one avoider of accidents, Jack Wynne, unfortunately. That was a bridge too far for him, because I think he got caught up on that. Did the number 17 car. So unfortunately for him. Jan Tautovella leading this race ahead of Tony Griffin. But Tony keeping him very honest here. And we said it there, we were just saying it before we went to that replay. Tony's having a superb evening in the number 12 car.
He is having a superb evening in the number 12 car. No, I'm not too familiar with these Porsche cars around Virginia, but it just seemed like they all checked up very early into the NASCAR bend. But again, there's a lack of experience behind that sentence. So that could be the normal lap one breaking point. But we will wait and see. Wouldn't it be great if Tony Griffin could win an RTA race here this evening? With the trouble he's gone through this season, it would be thoroughly deserved. But the exact same thing could be said for Jan Tautovella, who seems to be punted left, right and centre in this championship. Simultaneously racing in another Porsche championship, so lots of time driving this car does Jan Tautovella. And you can see it in moments like this when the pace is excellent. But Rory O'Shea's at the fastest lap in the last lap. Now Dylan McClemens is going to lunge down the inside of Eric Killeen and did very well not to clip Lawrence de Salzwa. Millimetre perfect as ever from the 88.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Skin of his teeth, Dylan McClemens. But I don't know if you could say skin of his teeth, because I think Dylan knows exactly what he's doing at all times in that car. In this, a good shout for Tony Griffin from Marie Quirk, who says, "Go Tony, up Kerry." So plenty of Kerry contingent on our grid this evening. Great to see it. You love to see it. And the Kerry boys, of course, with the Rally of the Lakes, know all about how to drive fast. So good to see them doing it on the circuit as well. So Tony Kerry, another fine Kingdom contingent in second place, followed by Rory O'Shea from Wexford. So we're in southwest to southeast here in a battle. And I suppose Rory's probably geographically the closest located to Jan Zoutfeld, given he's in the Netherlands. As Tony tries to move round the outside here, this is a day late. Will it be a dollar short? That's superb stuff from Tony, who is harder to pin down than his own TD in Michael Healy-Rae, Tony Griffin. Just about loses out to Jones out fella, but fair play to Tony for the effort, and I'm sure this isn't done. Rocher's also on the back of Tony, and Tony's gone into defensive mode now, pushing Jan to make sure he tries to hold on to a second place, but Rory looks like he might get it run down the outside. Will he? Oh, Rory tightly closing the door, and Rory getting marooned on the Sean McGoldrick corner, and Tony Griffin taking back second place. Superb battle there, Evan, between the three of those guys.
Yeah, mighty fight between all three. Tony was boxed in towards turn number one, had no choice but to lift off early. That allowed Rory O'Shea to shoot round the outside, and it didn't work out too well. However, now we're heading up through the S's and the snake section towards the South Bend, and Tony Griffin has lost the momentum on Jan Zoutavella here, so Rory O'Shea may be looking for a move. You've got to be bold and brave through this section. A lift off is usually the better answer through this turn number 9 and 10 complex, and Rory doesn't do it, because why would a racing driver not push on and try and make the move? Is it a lunge into the oak tree, and Tony Griffin piles on the brakes pretty early, and Rory O'Shea has to ensure he doesn't clobber the side of the back of the number 12, I should say. Now exiting the oak tree down towards the back straight, and Rory O'Shea is in the slipstream of Tony Griffin here. It's Wexford versus Kerry. It's not a battle you see too often in the GAA world, but it's one we're seeing here in Virginia now, and Rory O'Shea is on the outside, Tony Griffin on the inside. Rory O'Shea just questions Tony's bravery that little bit later on the stop pedal. Bang, overtake completed.
Superb work from these front three, and I'm sure this battle isn't done yet with 13 minutes left on the clock, and I'm sure Tony will be looking to get back at Rory and seeing if he can put himself under the same screw. But look at that in the background. We have the number 88 car. He is inevitable this season, Dylan McClements, and he's only 6/10 off this battle. Expect to see him join and quite possibly work his way through, as well as Conor Melia battling with Lee Cogan. Lee Cogan already involved in a fairly feisty battle with Diarmuid Toomey in the last race, so I'm sure the adrenaline will be pumping in the 26 car to see if he can get past. But speaking of great battles, here are these boys, and it looks like they're going to be approaching a back marker. I think that might be in the shape of Diarmuid Toomey at what could be a very, very awkward section, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah, this could be interesting. Diarmuid would probably be better to just get out of the way more than anything, but a driver never really wants to lose a lap. We're not even halfway through this one yet, and we know how the final 10 minutes really kicked on in Donington Park last week. We could see something fairly interesting here as well, because Dylan McClements hasn't even had a sniff of the lead just yet. He will be coming for this one in his Team GDR entry, exiting the long sweeping right-hander, which was compared to turn 3 and 4 at Mondello Park by Conor Melia at the weekend, and honestly it's not the worst comparison you could get. So anyone who races at Mondello may be a little bit of an advantage through that section, but Dylan McClements in the slipstream, bit too far back.
Yeah, a little bit too far back for the move at the moment, but Tony Griffin trying to get in the mirrors of Rory O'Shea, and I wondered it as Tony slightly jumped a little bit too early here, because he's going to put himself back in the jaws of Dylan McClements, and it's a very interesting tactical game when you're lying and stern like this, because if you don't time it right, you end up putting yourself in a vulnerable position, and that's where Tony could find himself. He's going to have to aggressively defend the inside here as we head down past the flag waver, and whose flagpole is only semi-attached to his hand. I mean, it depends on what part of the animation it is. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, but I'm sure people aren't looking at it too closely when you're driving by. But yeah, Dylan McClements in fourth position. He's not really close enough to make a move, and I think Dylan knows that, like, if he holds on and these guys battle, he could quite easily take 2 for 1 here. Get a bog off, buy one get one free if these two guys go at it. So I wonder, was Dylan just biding his time here and looking to see how things play out in front of him?
He doesn't usually do that, so it would be a bit of a surprise, but Dylan knows best. He's the one who has swept all around him. Needs about 100 points if he wants to take an all-time point scoring record in the championship, which I'm sure he will be trying to get intentionally or unintentionally. Some big gainers in this race. Conor Melia, one of them. He's up 11 positions to ninth spot. Other than that, it's been 2 or 3 positions here or there as the top 4 go flying down towards the roller coaster section. Rory O'Shea, if he gets brave enough on the brakes here, there might be a chance of a move down towards the first corner. Gaining and gaining. He was within 2.5 tenths of a second. Both him and Griffin have made a little bit of a mistake here, and Dylan McClements is going to be hoping to get the run out of turn number 17 or 17A and try and make the move stick, but it's 3 tenths between them all down towards the first corner. They still haven't caught that lap car Dermot Toomey just yet, so that's another challenge that the leaders are going to have to overcome eventually, but all spaced out evenly, so no moves in towards turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely no movers or shakers yet, but still almost 10 minutes, which is crazy to think. 9 minutes left in this race, given what's happened already thus far. There's another 9 minutes to go here, so plenty of time for any of these guys to try and make a move. And as I said, only takes one mistake, and you combine a very, very difficult VIR with already some half an hour or more of very intense racing. Combine that with 4 cars going through here. There's quite a big chance that one of them may make a mistake, and then you sprinkle in a little bit of back marker as well. You never know what's going to happen. So this isn't done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure of it with 8.5 minutes left on the clock. But Tony Griffin's in a great position here at the moment. He's in 3rd place, obviously with Dylan at the back of him, but he knows that Rory's going to eventually make a move on Jan Zoutevella, so he currently is the best placed car to benefit from that.
Yeah, let us know your driver of the day nominations as well, folks. We have a couple of votes for Tony Griffin so far, so please get in the comments and let us know who you think is the driver of the day. This is a lot closer now as they dispatch Dermot Toomey. Dermot doing exactly what we suggested, just pulling out of the way, but Dermot's a very clean racer, so you wouldn't expect anything else, and that is a credit to him. Dylan McClements is closer and closer to Kerry's Tony Griffin here, and they're all now 2 tenths of a second between, so the train is inevitably pulling closer together, and then there is a fight between De Salzburg, Colleen Power and Harvey Dara, but does Rory O'Shea have the run on our race leader down towards the first corner? 2.5 tenths of a second separate them. Tony Griffin in 3rd place. It's close between the front 2. Is there a move on for O'Shea? Zoutevella has to go defensive, and Rory O'Shea runs a little bit wide. Maybe was looking for the switchback, but couldn't quite pull it off. Side by side between Harvey Dara and Eric Colleen, but the peloton behind. Single file once again.
Yeah, it's very much. It's a real interesting one. Everyone started to kind of find their pace, and I suppose around here now, drivers are starting to get used to how much they can push. And like, the only thing now that could potentially be an issue coming into this beyond the 15-minute mark is tires. Even though a 20-minute race you wouldn't think it would have a massive effect, but if they're trying to push as hard as they can, then tires may come into the race. And you might see guys make mistakes, but at the moment it looks like everybody pretty much has their pace, and they're all pretty much matching each other. So I think it's going to take a mistake, and I do feel like one mistake is going to blow this field open. So we'll have to wait and see. But we're through 8 laps here already. It's absolutely flown this last race, as Rory O'Shea is just, none of them are really close enough to make any real move, Evan. They're all kind of just stuck in that train. It's a bit like a Formula One race around Baku. Like, you just get that. Speaking of making a move,
He's
there's
taken out
Darby. That is not the greatest of all time from Harvey Dara, who went way too deep into the corner, and unfortunately Lawrence, like, there's nothing that Lawrence could have done there.
And now these 3 all decide to kick off. There was a mistake from someone as Dylan McClements is going for that double whammy as you suspected, Kevin. He's on the outside of Tony Griffin here, and Tony is not going to give this one up at all. Has that inside line, barges Dylan McClements off, and that is Dylan to stay in 3rd place. Tony Griffin stays in 2nd. There's an opportunity for Zoutevella now to race away up the road. It was the mistake that he needed from someone behind. But let's have a look at the replay. I suspect this is of that Harvey Darrell. Or no, it's not. This is Tony Griffin and Rory O'Shea. So Rory going to make a mistake through the hog pen here.
Yeah, Rory cuts the corner on the right-hand side and just never got that traction, Rory.
Save.
Just great save from Rory, but just lost traction going over it and couldn't keep the throttle pinned down. Had to pull out of it to keep it straight. But he lives to fight another day, does Rory O'Shea. But unfortunately, loses out to both Messrs. Griffin and McClements for the moment. And as Johnny Hollywood said, straight to jail for Harvey Dara. Absolutely, you do not pass go. You do not collect $200.
Probably only a reprimand at some circuits, to be fair, but that is a howler for Harvey Tara. He didn't mean it. He definitely didn't mean it. He's not that type of driver. Just was way too late on the brakes, and unfortunately, Lawrence in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lawrence still in ninth somehow, so he could still end up getting a top 10 out of this.
Yeah, and to be fair to Lawrence, like he's had a great drive this evening. He's been involved in one or two incidents, but not really a fair reflection on where he probably should have finished this evening. Lawrence, he's really gotten quite adept at these Porsche Cup cars, and looking forward to seeing him next week in our final race at Laguna Seca to see if he can put it all together. Because it's just something I feel in my water that Lawrence is going to get a podium this season. But anyway, we shall see whether that happens on the final race or not. Dylan's in third position. Tony Griffin still ahead. Rory O'Shea finding it hard to get ahead of Dylan, and you can see Dylan there with the fastest lap overall this evening. But Tony's only like half a low. That's a mistake from McClements. That's a mistake from Dylan McClements. Missed the apex there, that corner, and that's invited Rory O'Shea now behind him, and has also given Tony Griffin some breathing room up ahead.
Yeah, it is, and Dylan's under pressure now, which is something he doesn't often find himself. A little bit of a weave, just showing how unbothered he is potentially as they fly their way over the curbs. And Rory O'Shea really has a nice line through the S's, does O'Shea. He always seems to gain on the car in front a little bit, whether that be Dylan, Tony or Jean. Tony Griffin, I tell you, he's putting the hammer down here and he's trying to get after Jean Zoutevella. He's cut about 0.6 of a second off that lead, and that's going to be an off track for Dylan McClements there. It ran way too wide exiting, and Rory O'Shea probably a little bit too far back for the lunge, but this battle for the win, the momentum of it is ebbing and flowing left, right and centre here, and Tony Griffin at the pace he's at could well win for the first time in RTA.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. Obviously, we'd love to see Jean do well as well, because Jean's been very unfortunate with some incidents that were really of his own making, so he deserves a win as well. But Tony's been waited so long for that race win, so it'll be fantastic to see the number 12 do it there. This is the first time I've seen Dylan looking a little bit uncomfortable, and you said that, Evan, that you thought, the wiggle of the tail might be that he's kind of shaking it off, but actually I think it's Dylan trying to test the tires and where they're at, and I wonder, is he just slightly overcooking the tires, or did he get involved in something that made him slightly overcook the tires? Because that just looked like an unusual mistake from Dylan. It looked like he just kind of lost the feel for the car going through that section of the track where we are now at the moment. So yeah, I just wonder, was Dylan trying to just get a little bit of a test just to see where the edge of the grip is, just to make sure he still had that grip, just to and that's the first time I have to say I've seen Dylan McClements look a little bit uncomfortable, or looking like he was trying to find grip as opposed to just being perfectly on the limit of grip where he has been for the last couple of races.
Yeah, see, that's not something I'd think of. I'd have put the car on the wall by that stage. So Dylan obviously has a little method to, or a little meaning behind his madness, and that's his method to test the tyres, which you are more than likely right in that regard, Kevin. Look at this from Kerry's Tony Griffin, right behind Jan Zoutevella. He has put the pedal to the floor, was 0.5 of a second quicker than Zoutevella on the last lap, and he's now thundering after the Dutchman here. Is Jan Zoutevella about to lose a race win for this on the final couple of laps in Heat 3 for the second consecutive week? How can Tony Griffin play his cards here? Backs off nicely, knows he has a lap to do it, and he's going to try it down the main straight.
Yeah, Tony's in a bit of a strange position here, because you don't want to dive in and throw all of your good work away for the sake of one extra position. But obviously Tony looking for that race win, and of course he has Dylan McClements behind him, so I suppose if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards. So Tony's under a bit of pressure here. I think he'll be lining up something through Madison Avenue, through that back straight in the last corner. Tony switched to the outside. I think that's a bad move from Tony Griffin. He could open up the door for Dylan McClements to come down the inside. Tony, he's managed to hold it around the outside. He's going to have the inside here, but he's definitely lost a bit of track position and a bit of time there, Tony Griffin. He's going to have to make that back, but I think Tony maybe a little bit overzealous trying to get that move done. And he's gone outside. He's made a mistake there, Tony Griffin, and Dylan McClements has come down the inside. Unfortunately, Tony, I think that all started from that turn one line going through the horseshoe, but unfortunately spitting himself out wide there through turn number 3, and Dylan McClements making the most of it. So unfortunately for the 12 car, he's gone backwards rather than forwards, and now he's looking more in the rear view mirror as Dylan McClements is going to see if he can make 3 from 3 in what's been a tremendously exciting and instant-filled round number 7 here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Pato Award situation at the Indy 500 for Tony Griffin. He couldn't really do anything else. He was going to lose it either way. And this is looking like it is finally going to be retribution for Jan Zoutevella, as Dylan just way too far behind, heading down towards the roller coaster corner. One more lap, and this could have been a totally different race, as Dylan is still extremely late in the brakes. And one little error here from Jan Zoutevella, and this race belongs to the Dunlyman, but Jan needs to keep it cool for the hog pen. Look at Dylan McClements hustling his Porsche around, and Jan Zoutevella, as he ran a little bit wide, he should be okay here. All going well. He wants every little bit of German engineering to help him up the hill, and Dylan McClements is not going to be able to take this one by 1/10 of a second. It was a monstrous last lap effort from McClements, but it is Zoutevella's day, and that is redemption from Donington.
Yeah, absolutely, Jan Zoutevella, and even redemption from the last race for him, having been caught up in that. Lawrence with a little wiggle in front of Kevin Joyce across the line. And let's hope that Lawrence doesn't take out a second person going across the line this evening. No, he doesn't. For the number 19 car, Mladen Strekovic in a battle now with Peter McCann, who has a slowdown. So Peter, very much in Road Atlanta style, Peter not getting to grips with this track at all, and having to slow down is Peter McCann and leave Mladen Strekovic by. That's a disappointing end, as he just gets ahead of Jack Wynn, or just gets past Jack Wynn on the slowdown. But yeah, what a superb race. Dylan McClements not doing enough to get first place, but did pretty much all he possibly could. But what a superb race from Tony Griffin as well. What an evening for the number 12 car. Rory O'Shea in 4th, and Dean Power in 5th. Eric Killeen in 6th as well. Eric with a great shout for a driver of the day as well. He had a great evening. But get your nominations in. I think I know who the chat are looking for, but we'll have a chat with our race winner, Jan Zoutevella, very shortly.
Yes, we will. Just run you through the results quickly. It is Jan Zoutevella who takes the win, Dylan McClements in 2nd, Tony Griffin in 3rd, then it is Rory O'Shea, Dean Power, Eric Killeen, Conor Melia, Lee Cogan, Lawrence de Salzma, Kevin Joyce, Adam Dowling, Jordan Kelly, Jack Wynn, Mladen Strekovic, ahead of Peter McCann, David Edwards, Sean McGoldrick, Dermot Toomey, Harvey Dara, and Jamal Gandour. Let's hear then from Jan Zoutevella. Jan, congratulations. It is a long-awaited win. How does that one feel after the disappointment in Donington?
Incredible, actually. After Donington, seeing Virginia to be on the calendar, I didn't think it would be anything. But I just got very lucky with Dylan sending it on Tony on the last lap, so yeah.
A couple of big moves in that race. Was it just feeling it out on what the good overtakes were, or did you always have a plan for what corner the moves needed to be made?
You kind of have a plan, of course, into the roller coaster. After the long straight or turn 1, you just brake very deep. But I mean, for the rest, it was just feeling it out. The gaps were starting to be quite big in race 2, so it's just hoping for a miracle, and it happened by Jack and Lawrence fighting a lot. So yeah.
Heading into Laguna Seca then, you said you weren't really looking forward to VIR when you saw it on the calendar, but it's turned out to be quite a decent evening for you. Laguna Seca, how does that fancy?
I mean, to be very honest, I don't like the track in any car, but I don't like Virginia in any car, so that worked out. So we'll see next week.
Jan, congratulations, a really well-deserved win.
Thank you.
Now, our second place man, Dylan McClements.
Dylan, you didn't finish first. You did pretty much everything, but I know you're looking for an extra 100 points to break your season record, and you're gotten pretty close to it after tonight.
Yeah, I made a pretty bad mistake. I think I touched the grass on the right to one of the corners, and then I fell right back. So it was a race to try catch up, and I tried to make the most of it. Was 7 tenths behind Jan, and just about was under 10. So I think if it was a lap earlier, I might have had a chance.
Yeah, we just saw that small incident, and it's like picking needles out of a haystack. I mean, you've been so dominant in the last 3 weeks, but we saw you just a little bit of wiggle of the tail just after that incident. Was that the first time you kind of felt like you were a little bit uncomfortable with grip, or you kind of felt like you were looking for grip, or was it literally just the tiniest of misplacings of the car that spat you out?
I think it was the Dennis mismovements. I've done that a couple of times I think it was just a couple of times in this race. I'm not sure though, but it's just when you run off that curb, you're basically onto the grass, and made that mistake, but was good enough to get back up and get Rob second place.
Yeah, I mean, look, you looked really comfortable. You just look very comfortable in these cars, and particularly overtaking. You look very comfortable knowing that you can get a move done. Laguna Seca, last round. What do you think of the track, and how much are you looking forward to next week?
The track's really good. Looking quite forward to next week and try get another hat trick on the board before the end of the season. But I know if Jordan comes back, he's really good there. I think Aston Martins, he was miles ahead of everyone, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, Dylan, as I said, another great evening for you. Congratulations, our runaway championship leader. I don't think there's anybody catching you at this point, but we'll wait till next week to get it officially done. Dylan, 2 first place to the second place. Congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Right, so to our final, last but most certainly not least, Tony Griffin joins us for the first time, I think, Evan. Is it fair to say, in the RTA commentary box?
Definitely, because I've had to drag him into the interview waiting room, so I would definitely say it's the first time.
Let's hear from Tony now.
Tony, can you hear us?
I can, yeah.
Tony, congratulations. It is one of your best nights in RTA so far. How do you feel?
Oh, it absolutely was. It was just such good fun racing with Jan, whoever it may be, Rory. I know Dylan was up there definitely, as he always is. So it was very nice to be mixing it with them.
Not to put a dampener on it, but do you think maybe a win was on the cards tonight?
Yeah, it probably was. Like, but I just get way too nervous in these situations. Like, you don't want to screw up either, so I just kept it at bay.
And in terms of the whole season, your pace has just been getting better and better and better across each rounds. Is that just you're naturally getting quicker, or you're learning the car more, or what do you think that could be down to?
To be honest, I don't know. I was so far off the pace in Snetterton. I think I just really like VIR as a track. Next week, Laguna Seca. I'm not too sure about that one, but we'll have to see how it goes. Maybe it might just be down to getting a bit more used to this awful car. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm just getting better, adapting to different situations, and getting used to it.
Well, Tony, you were certainly a fan favourite in our stream chat tonight, as dare I say, it is the first ever unanimous driver of the day from Gantry TV. So congratulations, and it is really well earned.
That's great. Thank you so much.
So good to hear from our podium placers there, and an over the moon Tony Griffin. We get these sort of robots who come in who, oh, I've won again, but it really is great when you get someone like Tony who's worked hard and has reaped the rewards.
Yeah, throwing a bit of shade at Dylan McClements. That's very nice of you there. Evan, no.
No. Dylan's
No,
like
no.
that all the time. That's the difference.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's great. Like, I mean, I think that's the reason why we brought in the driver of the day, was to reward drivers that maybe, aren't necessarily on paper the quickest drivers or the guys that you would always see at the front of the grid, but guys who perform particularly well on a given day, which is, I think a lot of people would say, okay, the outstanding driver, if you were to give it purely based on pace, we just give it to Dylan every week. But the idea of the driver of the day is to reward drivers who have really upped their game or have really found an extra notch in that one evening. And I think this is exactly why this reward was designed for evenings like this for Tony Griffin. And to be fair to Tony, he's been in and around the front running for the last couple of races, but just different incidents and different mistakes are being caught up in different things. Whereas this evening, he was finally able to put a string of results together and showed exceptional pace. Too late, unfortunately, for Tony in the context of the championship, for going for it. But yeah, brilliant to see Tony, and he's absolutely thrilled. The podium is a fantastic result, but then to also be given, to be commended for your efforts over the course of the evening, very, very well deserved, and glad to see how pleased he was.
I'm chuffed for Tony. I really am, because his pace has just been getting better and better and better, even since the V season. And even if he says he was off the pace last week, it was still one of his best drives and really well earned tonight. But next week should be a cracker in Laguna, Kevin.
Yeah, it's a pity I'm going to be missing it. You're on your own, Evan, next week for the final of the Porsche Cup
We're going to have some fun, folks.
Yeah, let's hope with that Laguna Seca hasn't any interesting corner names, or
I'm pretty sure it does.
Well,
we're going through that again, folks.
You'll be spending the first at least 15 minutes of the stream listening to Evan rant about that, and then whatever happens after that happens. Yeah, it is. Johnny says, when did they move the Red Bull Ring to Germany? We've had 8 weeks of this, and not once did I realize that I did that. But the annexed part of Germany, the Red Bull Ring. Sorry to all Germans or all Austrians in the chat. I'm not going to go there. Yeah, I know where you think I'm going with this. I'm not going to go there with it. But yeah, my apologies to all Austrians. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic final round. The corkscrew is an iconic corner, but overall as a track, it's really good. I love that opening section of it. And a lot of sweeping bends as well, which will encourage some fairly, let's say, ambitious moves as well. Thanks to Evan. You have a look at the chat. You get a link there to the I Donate crowdfunder for Harry Fagan and Sean McClements. I would ask you to donate to that. Both Ronan and Evan have donated to it. I'll be donating to it once I finally get my pay for this month. I had to drop €1,000 on my own card this week, so I'm not exactly liquid rich. But yeah, Laguna Seca for the final round of this Porsche Cup Series, and a very dominant performance from Dylan McClements. He'll be on the top rung of the league, but who else will join him on the podium places? That remains to be seen. Until then, remember to head to rtavirtualmotorsport.com, where you can get all the updates on the league championship, and of course take part in next year's championship, which is of course going to be the Indy NXT series, and I think we have a calendar for that as well, which starts at St. Pete Street Circuit, and we have the Mexican Grand Prix as well on that, as well as Virginia, Laguna Seca, and Sebring. So very, very a good calendar for that one, so you can get involved and sign up for that one. Remember to head to Bois Motorsport as well. Plenty of coverage of Campto's exceptional weekend in the Formula V's this weekend, and many thanks, of course, to Johnny Hollywood as always for that. And it's 23rd and 24th of May. We're about a month out from a Gamer Fest in Dublin. And yeah, that is, get your tickets for that. Head to gamerfest.com, where you can get tickets for that one at the RDS, as we say, the May 23rd and 24th. And that is about it, ladies and gentlemen, for our penultimate broadcast of this season. I am very much looking forward to having a week off. I'm not going to lie. Having done a live stream on our week off between the scholarship and this series, I think we've been going for the bones of 14 weeks non-stop. Evan will be there to guide you like Jean Zoutevilla-esque onto the runway for the final race.
He's an astronomy student, not aviation.
Well, no, I was an aviation student. Right, time to pack this up. Evan, thank you. Ronan, thank you. Everyone in the chat, Thank you, and we'll speak to you next week. Until then, slán go fóill.